Jen, I heard things are pretty difficult right now between you and my son. He's going to have to move out of state for work, and you both have been discussing that, right? And I heard that you're going to have to travel pretty far this time as well if you choose to go with him.
That's right, Lisa. And this time my husband will have to go really far out of state, and so we might have to move houses closer to his work, or else he'll have to travel by car 10 hours each weekend, going back and forth. I'm sorry for not telling you about this sooner. We've just been so busy with things, and the kids are growing, and so time has really flown by here.
That's nothing to worry about now. You've always been talking about having to move at some point, right? It is a difficult problem for you guys to deal with.
It sure is. And right now, my husband and I are having trouble finding out what we want to do about this.
Oh, is that so?
My husband said that he'd like all of us to move out of state with him. He thinks that by doing that, we can all find a new house together and start a new life. And, I mean, we both have been living here for a very long time, so it would be nice to go someplace new. But I'd rather stay right here with the kids in the house we have now. We have been here so long that I have connections to a lot of people, and we're very used to this town and know it's a safe place to raise our kids. But when he heard that from me, he seemed to get a little shocked. I guess he thought I'd be on board with him.
Are there other reasons why you want to stay here?
Well, because I don't want to have to quit my current job to move. I have worked so hard to make it as far as I have in my career, and I don't want to throw all of it away. If I move out of state as well and have to find a new job, I'll have to start at square one again. And I don't want to do that anymore, because I've technically done that twice, and it's rough.
I see. Well, that's very unfortunate.
I know as his wife I should be there with him when he moves, but...
It's not like that, though, Jen. These days, women are allowed to make their own choice regarding their career. And you are Jen, and you have a life that you'd like to live the way you like.
And my oldest son has just gotten into elementary school. I'd feel bad having to take him out of that school and move him to another one. He has made all sorts of friends there, and all the teachers are really special to him. I'd hate to take all of that away from him at such a young age. I'm sorry, but I think I'm going to have to make my husband move on his own.
My son becomes lonely pretty easily, so I'm sure he doesn't want to leave all of you here. But I understand how you feel about all of this as well. And he's an adult now, so he has to understand everyone can make their own choices, and that he can still come back to visit you guys on holidays or vice versa.
At first he was saying that if his work began to make him travel a bunch more, he'd go out and find a new one. But I think over the recent years, he's really grown into the company and isn't willing to leave them now, even though he'll have to leave the state this time.
I see. I'm sure in his eyes he's gotten used to it there and is really happy with the money he can make for everyone.
We have a larger family now, and it requires more money. And so even if he has to travel more, I'm sure he thinks the money is the most important part. And recently, things have been going up in price, and taxes going up as well. So I really don't blame him for keeping that job, but I guess I just wish he could have had a normal job where he didn't have to move around so much. But the money is key, so I don't blame him for sticking to it.
And soon you'll have to worry about all 3 of your kids going to school and having to pay for that. So really, it is much better to have him stay with his current company and bring in all the money now so that you guys can relax later.
And that's the same thing with me. If I have to leave my job here, we won't be making as much money as we do now. And even though our kids are young now, soon they'll be at that age where they cost a lot. So we can't afford to do anything that might decrease our income.
I'm sure that the economy and having to find a new job that gives you a good salary would be tough. I've known a little while now that my son has really begun to like his job. So him having to quit that job would never go over well with him.
So you understand our situation as well, then? I'm sure he's not going to like moving on his own, but having his job that he loves and the raise for doing said move would help us out a lot.
I can understand that as well.
And so because of that, I think he'll have to be on his own for a bit. I'm sorry that we went and talked about all of this without you. I'm sure you wanted to weigh in a bit more in our talk so that you could give some options.
Well, you guys are the married couple, so I shouldn't have to be here when you guys make decisions. And since this is all for the sake of keeping the family happy and stable, I'm totally fine with your guys' choice. And my son is fine with all this as well, right?
I assume that he's fine with it. When I said I'd be staying here with the kids, he did seem a bit sad, but also glad to see that we'd still be focusing on the family while we're apart.
Just as long as he doesn't get too lonely on his own. But having to care for your kids and work a job is going to be tough on you, right? And your youngest is still only 2 years old, right? Even if one kid is in elementary school and the other 2 are in daycare, you're still going to have your hands full all of the time.
Yeah, and that's something I'd like to talk with you about. Do you think you'd be able to come over and help me every so often? Or actually, so that it's easier on you, can I have them come over to your place to be watched by you?
Of course I'll help. You can leave your babies with me whenever you need to.
Are you sure that's okay? I know that you might have things going on your own, so I don't want to get in the way of them.
I'm living on Social Security now, and most things I plan to do can be moved around, so I have all the time in the world to do what I want. So just ask me when you need me. I'll make sure to get accommodations ready for them before they come so that they're comfortable.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I knew because you were a mom yourself, you'd say you'd be all right with helping. Well then, when I come over at times, I'd love for you to take all of the kids for me. I'll have them over whenever I think I might be late from work, or they have the day off from school and daycare. And I'll make sure to call you first so that you're ready.
All right. I may be older now, but I'll do my best to entertain them all.
And I'll put even more work into my job now, so that we have the money to relax later.
Let's all work together to make sure the kids come out of this happy and healthy. I hope this will show my son that he has nothing to worry about while he's gone either. Jen, when are you coming by today to get your kids? It's almost 10 p.m. now, and the 2 youngest are sleeping already.
I'm sorry, I'm still in the office trying to finish a project. Do you think you can let them all stay at your house tonight?
But tomorrow, your oldest will be going back to elementary school, right? What should I do about him?
That's right. You can just give him some PB&J sandwiches to take with him, so you can make those up in the morning? And maybe a fruit or something to go along with the sandwiches.
But you'll have a field trip tomorrow, right? Will he be taking his backpack with him? I don't have anything like that for him here. I'd like to go to your house to grab one, but you never gave me or your kids a key yet to get into your place.
Right. I'd give one to my oldest, but he always loses the key, so I gave up on that.
So then we won't be able to go get him a bag from your place. I have a small leather bag, but I don't think it'd be good for him to bring that one on the trip.
Well, I'm going to be here all night at the office, and I don't think I'll be leaving until tomorrow. I don't think I'll see you all again until tomorrow morning. Do you think you can go to a Walmart or something and grab him a cheap bag?
Huh? Right now?
You know that all Walmarts are open 24/7, right?
I understand that, but I can't just leave the kids here and go out this late at night. Especially when 2 of them are sleeping. And having to wake those 2 up now would take even more time, and they'd both get grumpy.
You don't have any other backpacks in your house?
What my husband used years ago are still around somewhere, but those are like business backpacks for adults.
Well, that'll be fine for him. Use one of those, please. Another thing. do you think for all of next week you can hang on to the kids at your place?
For a whole week?
I will have to go on a week-long business trip.
Business trip? You've never had to go on one of those before, though, right?
Well, recently the company has been growing, and I need to go visit another branch. And if I were to turn them down about going on the business trip, I'd risk ever being able to move up in this company.
Jen, I can see that you're doing so well with focusing on your job and all, but don't you think you can start coming home a bit more often as well? Are you sure you're not working too much right now?
I can't just ask the company to slow down on all the work they give me. I'm just too busy at the moment.
But recently, you haven't even been home enough to see your kids for a few hours. And also, even though I'm on a pension and all now, I can't continue to spend as much as I am on everyone here. I have to pay for my own food as well, and for myself to go to the hospital for checkups.
But Lisa, you said that you'd help me whenever I asked, right? And you knew that I'd be busy from the start, right? I assumed you knew all of that and still planned to help me. So why are you getting on to me about my work now?
I said that I'd help you with raising them. But when it comes to helping you, I never meant doing everything to care for them. Maybe it would have just been best if you moved with your husband.
Do not say something like that after all we've been through. Also, does that mean you think I should quit my job now?
That's not what I'm implying. I just want you to stop making me care for the three all the time. I have had things to attend to myself, and for the past 3 months I've taken care of my grandkids without complaining to you.
You don't even work anymore, Lisa, so there can't be anything important that you have to attend to now. You can handle my kids every day for all I care.
I have a life of my own as well, Jen. I just thought that you having to take care of all of them on your own would be tough for you, and so that's why I wanted to lend you a hand. But what's going on now is way different than what I expected. If you keep forcing me to take them every day like this, then I don't think I'll be able to take care of them anymore.
What is your problem? It's because of me giving them to you that you get to spend all the time in the world with your little grandkids. If anything, you should be thanking me for all of this.
Why should I be the one thanking you?
You want to be with your grandkids, right? And so I'm making sure you can see them all the time. So please thank me for that.
Don't you think you're being a bit irrational right now?
So are you saying you won't care for them for me? Well, if that's the case, then I won't be able to handle things anymore. I'd say you're bullying me.
Why would that be me bullying you?
You're trying to take away my precious time to get the work done. And that right there is you harassing me. So that would make you an old bully.
That way of thinking is a bit messed up.
I'm working this job for my family.
But for a long time, you had never been working as much as you do now. For some reason, ever since my son had to leave the state for work, you have become more and more busy with your job. And your job requires you to be in your office at all times, right? So why would you need to be going on any business trips?
Ah, shut up! Stop trying to talk about my job like you understand it at all. You haven't had a job in years, so how would you even know what today's world of working is like? Now stop talking to me about all of that.
Right. I understand. I won't say anything more.
I think you're beginning to get tired from being around my kids a lot, huh? I'll come by tomorrow to grab my kids and go home, so don't worry about it. My business trip is over, but it won't be until really late tonight that I get home, so can the kids stay over for one more night? I'll make sure to come get them tomorrow morning.
Don't worry about it, Jen. You don't have to come here anymore.
Huh? What do you mean by that? What is going to happen with my kids then?
I'll be taking care of my grandkids for a while longer now, so you don't have to come.
Are you saying that you'll be holding on to my kids for good and raising them?
That's not what this means. I'm saying that I'll be taking your custody over them away.
What? What are you saying, Lisa? Have you gone a bit mad after all that time with them?
You had always been forcing me to take care of them for you. And I can see that you no longer care to raise these kids. So I'll be taking your custody of them away.
Wait, what are you going on about now? I have no idea what this is.
I'm being serious right now. Ever since my son had to move out for work, you have been acting a lot more strange and doing things that don't make any sense to me. And I made sure to tell my son about what's been happening to you.
What about me is so strange?
You are always away from home now, and that's not right for you. And the fact that right after your husband left, you began to stay at work longer and have to go on business trips. That's pretty strange to anyone, you might ask. And after talking to my son, he agrees that something's up with you. We are beginning to grow skeptical of you.
You told my husband? Wait, why are you being skeptical of me? I told you that I'm busy with work, didn't I?
Well, my son, he asked one of his friends that lives here to do something. He wanted him to follow you and check up on what you were doing.
What? What the hell was he thinking?
He has a friend that works as a detective, Jen. And so that guy made sure to look a bit deeper into you for us.
A bit deeper?
You haven't been working your job at all recently. You said that you had a lot of work to get done and would have to stay late and overnight, but every night you went out to play. Going to fancy restaurants, drinking until the sun rose, going to male strip clubs. You really have been enjoying yourself a lot, haven't you?
You're wrong. I've been working this whole time.
He was able to get pictures of you, though. And all that money you have been making has gone right back into your nightlife. And the money that your husband has been working so hard for has found its way into your pockets as well.
I will say that every once in a while I'd go out to have a little fun, but I wasn't going out enough to where you can blame me for anything.
The reason you didn't want to move out of state with your husband was because you have a man here that you wanted to be with.
You're wrong.
Your husband and I already know everything, Jen. Everything you hid from us has been exposed.
Everything?
You have one more secret, right? Something that you don't want anyone knowing about.
How much do you know about me? Stop holding it back from me and just say what you want to say.
I have someone that I need to talk with right now, so I'll text you later.
Don't stop right now.
One other thing. I'm with my son right now.
Huh? He came back already?
He had to come back to talk with a lawyer about some things. He has to make sure that he'll be the one to get all 3 kids.
Why would he be going to a lawyer right now, though?
You know why, Jen. You should know what we plan to do about that as well.
Lisa! Stop trying to ignore me. I'll tell you everything, okay?
Tell me everything about what?
About the things you had been accusing me of. I had been going out with other men. And not just that, but we had all been doing a lot of sexual things as well.
Really? Then this is you confessing that you did in fact cheat on my son.
It is. Every night I'd go out with different men on the town, and the 2 of us would have fun together.
And so you saying that you were busy with work was all a lie?
Actually, I was only working about 3 days a week, and for only 6 hours each day. I quit my job as a full-time worker and went part-time there. And I was never trying to move up in the company.
And so what is the real reason for you asking my son to move out of the house alone?
So that I could go out with other men and have sex. And since he was making enough money and handing it to me, I thought that I could use it to have all the fun I wanted.
My gosh. And to think that I took you for a mother that actually cared about her husband and family enough to let him leave for a while for a better future. It's the whole reason I gave up my time to help you raise your kids. But I guess I've been stabbed in the back now.
I'm so sorry for all that I've done.
I'm sure that if you would have just took a few days to be home for your kids, I would have never known about you going out at night. You really did take advantage of your situation a little too much.
You just said a while ago that you had met with a lawyer, right? What did you guys talk about?
About divorce and about a settlement and about custody of the kids.
I came out about all of this, So, do you think that you can make the settlement a little less expensive for me?
Oh, you telling us the truth has nothing to do with the settlement. Even if you didn't tell us the truth, we already knew everything.
But I don't have any money.
Don't apologize, Jen. We can't trust you as an adult or a mother, so my son will be the one paying for the kids, so you don't have to. But you will have to take full responsibility for all of this. We will make sure that you have enough pay for the settlement, and then we'll leave you alone forever.
So you guys are going to take away my rights to my kids?
You don't have the will to raise them, nor the money to. So you have no right to those 3. If you were to continue to be their mother, they may end up living a life in poverty.
Cannot say that about me.
Oh, but I can. It's the truth after all. Really, I want to make sure that you never have anything to do with us ever again. But I am an adult, and so I have to wait and see what my son decides.
And I have had to deal with a lot of things as well. After having to work and having to care for the kids, I have no time of my own. And when it comes to cheating, everyone has at least tried it once. I'm sure even you have had another man at you at one point while you were with your husband, right?
Why would I want another man when I had the love of my life? I'm not some kind of whore like you are. Don't you dare compare me to you ever again.
Whore?
You stabbed everyone in my family in the back, and I'll never forgive you for that. This time it'll only be you growing lonely, while everyone else moves away. After that, my son and his wife got a divorce. It was tough for the both of them to go through with it, but my son could no longer look Jen in the face for what she'd done to him and the kids. Jen was calm about things in the end, and actually told me that I had every right to be upset with her, and I was very much indeed. After going through all of the evidence, we learned she spent upwards of around $10,000 in those 3 months, and had slept with at least 6 different guys. And what made things ultimately worse for my son to bear was that she had been with one of them for almost a year, meaning she had been with him while my son was still at home with her. Luckily, though, this was the end of him having to look at her, and so hopefully he'll be able to move on from what she'd done. To make sure that he was around his kids often, my son changed jobs to ones that didn't require him to move around. And so, right now, he's at home living with me and his 3 kids. He did end up reducing his salary a bit with the choice, but being here with me will help reduce the amount he spends. We split the cost of utilities here, and I pay for myself when it comes to food and such. And although I may be on a pension and everything now, I do have a bit in my savings, and I plan to use it for my son and grandkids so that they don't feel too stressed by what happened. And my son does his best to not make me take care of the kids all the time, and I'm sure that soon he'll grow into one of the best single fathers known to man. It may be a bit tough for a while having 3 young kids running around, but we will do our very best to make sure they all live happy lives. As for Jen, we were able to get a settlement from her. Although it wasn't much, but even that was enough to make her hurt for a long time. She didn't have anything left to afford her house, and after having to jump around a lot, I'm sure she's ended up somewhere we'll never have to hear about. If anything, she has all those men she slept with around still, and maybe she'll find one of them stupid enough to let her into their life. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.